Chapter 1. The Trail of Adventure. Bill had always found solace in the rhythmic sound of hooves against the earth, the gentle rustle of leaves in a breeze, and the breathtaking views that unfolded before him as he rode through the scenic trails near his home. His horse, Spirit, was more than just a companion. He was a steadfast friend, a creature of grace and strength that mirrored Bill's own adventurous spirit. Together, they explored the winding paths that meandered through lush forests and over rolling hills, each ride a new chapter in their shared story. On a bright Saturday morning, the sun cast a warm golden hue over the landscape, inviting Bill and Spirit to embark on yet another adventure. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of pine and wildflowers, and the sky was a brilliant blue, dotted with fluffy white clouds. Bill felt a surge of excitement as he mounted Spirit, the horse's powerful muscles rippling beneath him. They set off at a brisk trot, the world around them blurring into a tapestry of colors and sounds. As they navigated the familiar trails, Bill felt a sense of freedom that only riding could provide. He reveled in the bond he shared with Spirit, who seemed to understand his every thought and emotion. They galloped through open fields, leaped over small streams, and climbed steep inclines, the thrill of the ride igniting a fire within Bill's heart. However, as they approached a particularly steep section of the trail, Bill's confidence began to waver. The path narrowed, and the ground beneath them became uneven. Bill focused intently on maintaining his balance. But just as they reached the edge of a steep drop, a loose stone shifted beneath Spirit's hooves. In an instant, Bill felt himself losing control. Time seemed to slow as he tumbled from the saddle, the world spinning around him. He landed with thud at the bottom of a deep ravine, pain shooting through his body as he struggled to comprehend what had just happened. Dazed and disoriented, Bill lay on the cold, hard ground, his breath coming in shallow gasps. He could feel the weight of his injuries, but more pressing was the realization that he was alone, trapped in a ravine with no immediate way to call for help. Panic began to set in, but just as despair threatened to overwhelm him, he heard a familiar sound echoing from above. Spirit stood at the edge of the ravine, his dark eyes wide with concern. The horse neighed loudly, a sound filled with urgency and loyalty, refusing to leave Bill's side. He paced back and forth, his hooves striking the ground with a rhythm that seemed to call out for help. Bill's heart swelled with gratitude and admiration for his faithful companion. Even in this dire situation, Spirit's unwavering loyalty shone through, a beacon of hope in the darkness. As the minutes stretched into what felt like hours, Bill focused on Spirit's presence, drawing strength from the bond they shared. He knew that if anyone could sense his need for help, it was Spirit. The horse continued to call out, his cries piercing the stillness of the forest, echoing through the trees and carrying on the wind. Bill closed his eyes for a moment, willing himself to stay calm, knowing that Spirit would not give up on him. Chapter 2. The Call for Help. As Bill lay in the ravine, the pain in his body was a constant reminder of his precarious situation. He could feel the sharp ache in his leg and the dull throb in his side, but it was Spirit's unwavering presence that kept his spirits from sinking too low. The horse's cries echoed through the trees, a desperate plea that seemed to resonate with the very essence of the wilderness around them. Meanwhile, a group of hikers, enjoying their own adventure on the nearby trails, paused at the sound of Spirit's frantic neighing. They exchanged puzzled glances, their curiosity piqued by the unusual commotion. One of the hikers, a young woman named Sarah, felt a tug of concern in her heart. "That doesn't sound like a normal horse call," she said, tilting her head toward the direction of the noise. "We should check it out." The group, consisting of 4 friends, agreed and made their way toward the sound, their footsteps crunching on the fallen leaves and twigs. As they approached the edge of the ravine, they spotted Spirit standing there, his mane flowing in the breeze, his eyes wide with distress. The sight of the horse, so clearly agitated, sent a wave of urgency through the hikers. "Look down there," shouted one of the men, pointing toward the bottom of the ravine. "There's someone down there." Bill, hearing the voices above, opened his eyes and looked up, squinting against the sunlight. He could make out the figures of the hikers peering over the edge, their faces a mix of concern and surprise. Relief washed over him as he realized that help was finally on the way. "I'm down here," he called out, his voice hoarse but filled with hope. "I need help." The hikers quickly assessed the situation. They could see Bill lie on the ground, injured but conscious, and Spirit standing protectively at the edge of the ravine, still calling out, "Stay calm. We're going to get you out of there." Sarah shouted back, her voice steady and reassuring. One of the hikers, a tall man named Jake, took charge. "We need to call for a rescue team," he said, pulling out his phone. "I'll get help while the rest of you keep an eye on him." He dialed the emergency services, explaining the situation as clearly as he could, while the others stayed close to the edge, offering words of encouragement to Bill. "Just hang in there, buddy. Help is on the way." Another hiker called down, trying to keep Bill's spirits up. Bill nodded, grateful for their presence. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through him, a mix of fear and relief. Spirit, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, calmed slightly but remained vigilant, his eyes never leaving Bill. As the minutes passed, the sound of distant sirens began to fill the air, growing louder as the rescue team made their way through the forest. Bill felt a surge of hope. He knew that soon he would be safe. Spirit, however, remained at the edge, his loyalty unwavering. He continued to nicker softly, as if encouraging Bill to hold on just a little longer. When the rescue team finally arrived, they were met with the sight of Spirit standing guard over Bill. The team quickly assessed the situation, their training kicking in as they prepared to lower a harness down to him. "We're going to get you out of here, sir," one of the rescuers said, his voice calm and reassuring. "Just stay still and let us do our job." Bill nodded, his heart racing with a mix of anxiety and gratitude. As the harness was lowered, he felt Spirit nuzzle his shoulder, a comforting presence amidst the chaos. "You did it, Spirit," Bill whispered, his voice filled with emotion. "You brought them to me." With careful precision, the rescue team secured Bill in a harness and began to lift him out of the ravine. As he ascended, he caught a glimpse of Spirit, who stood proudly at the edge, watching every movement with keen eyes. The bond between man and horse was palpable, a testament to their shared adventures and the loyalty that had brought help when it was needed most. Finally, Bill was pulled to safety, the cool air hitting his face as he was set down on solid ground. The hikers cheered, and the rescue team quickly began to assess his injuries. Bill looked around, taking in the faces of those who had come to his aid, and then his gaze fell on Spirit, who trotted over, nuzzling him gently as if to say, "You're safe now." In that moment, Bill knew that he owed his life to his heroic horse and the kindness of strangers. Chapter 3: The Healing Journey. As the rescue team worked diligently to assess Bill's injuries, he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. The hikers who had come to his aid gathered around, their faces filled with concern and relief. "You're going to be okay," Sarah said, kneeling beside him. "Just take deep breaths. Help is here." Bill nodded, trying to focus on her soothing words. The pain in his leg was sharp, and he could feel the bruises forming on his side, but the presence of Spirit nearby gave him strength. The horse stood close, his warm breath brushing against Bill's cheek, a silent promise that he would always be there. The rescue team quickly determined that Bill had sustained a few broken ribs and a sprained ankle, but thankfully nothing life-threatening. They carefully placed him on a stretcher, ensuring he was comfortable before beginning the trek back to the trailhead. As they moved, Bill couldn't help but glance back at Spirit, who followed closely, his eyes never leaving Bill's face. "Your horse is incredible," one of the rescuers remarked, glancing back at Spirit. "He wouldn't leave your side. It's like he knew you needed him." Bill smiled, pride swelling in his chest. "He's more than just a horse to me. He's my best friend." The bond they shared was something special, forged through countless rides and adventures, and now it had proven to be a lifeline in his darkest moment. As they reached the trailhead, the sun was beginning to dip low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the landscape. Bill was carefully transferred to an ambulance, where the paramedics continued to monitor his condition. Spirit stood nearby, his ears perked up, watching intently as Bill was wheeled away. "I'll be okay, buddy," Bill called out, his voice steady despite the pain. "I'll see you soon." The paramedics assured him that he would be taken care of, and as the ambulance doors closed, Bill felt a mix of anxiety and relief. The ride to the hospital was a blur, filled with the sounds of sirens and the gentle hum of the engine. He closed his eyes, allowing himself to drift into a moment of calm, envisioning Spirit's strong form and the adventures that awaited him once he was healed. At the hospital, the medical staff worked quickly and efficiently, treating his injuries with care. Bill was grateful for their expertise, but his thoughts kept drifting back to Spirit. He couldn't shake the feeling of guilt for putting his horse in such a stressful situation. "I hope he's okay," he murmured to the nurse as she wrapped his ribs. "He must be worried about me." The nurse smiled kindly. Animals can sense when something is wrong, but they also have an incredible ability to adapt. "I'm sure he's being well taken care of. You'll be reunited soon." After several hours of treatment, Bill was finally stabilized and given a room to rest. He was exhausted but relieved to know that he was on the mend. As he lay in a hospital bed, he couldn't help but replay the events of the day in his mind. The fall, Spirit's unwavering loyalty, and the kindness of the hikers who had come to his rescue. Each moment felt like a reminder of the importance of connection, both with nature and with those around him. The next day, after a night filled with restless sleep, Bill was eager to see Spirit. He had been informed that the horse was being cared for at a nearby stable, where the staff had taken him in after the rescue. With the help of crutches, Bill made his way to the stable, his heart racing with anticipation. As he approached the stable, he could hear the soft whinnies of horses and the gentle rustle of hay. The moment he stepped inside, he spotted Spirit in a spacious stall, munching on some fresh hay. The horse looked up, his dark eyes lighting up with recognition. Bill's heart soared as he hobbled closer, a smile breaking across his face. "Hey, buddy," he said softly, reaching out to stroke Spirit's neck. The horse nuzzled him affectionately, as if to reassure him that everything was all right. "I'm so sorry for what happened. I never meant to put you in danger." Spirit responded with a gentle nicker, leaning into Bill's touch. In that moment, all the worries and fears melted away. Bill knew that their bond had only grown stronger through this experience. They had faced adversity together, and now they would heal together. Over the next few weeks, Bill focused on his recovery, attending physical therapy sessions and gradually regaining his strength. Spirit remained by his side, visiting him at the stable whenever he could. The two spent hours together, sharing quiet moments and enjoying each other's company. Bill dismounted and led Spirit to a patch of grass, allowing the horse to graze while he took in the scenery. The beauty of nature surrounded him, and he felt a profound sense of peace wash over him. "Look at this, Spirit," he said, gesturing to the landscape. "This is what it's all about. Just you and me, out here together." Spirit raised his head, his ears twitching as he listened, and Bill couldn't help but laugh. "I think you agree." As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the sky, Bill knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter for them. They had faced challenges together, and now they would continue to explore the world side by side, their bond stronger than ever. With a heart full of gratitude and a spirit renewed, Bill mounted Spirit once more, ready to ride into the sunset, knowing that no matter what lay ahead, they would face it together.